This line that you draw will be the place where you bend the sheet copper in half. This is where one side of the center section will join the other. There's no need cutting it and resoldering. We'll just fold that in half. And the other half of it will be exactly symmetrical to this. So you have your two parabolas, your 16 3/8 inch here where you'll make a seam and fold it 16 3/8 inches here, and two more parabolas back here. Get yourself a good pair of tin snips or Cutco scissors are fine, and begin cutting, allowing that extra lip that you will bend up around the parabolas. You'll do this on both sides. Be careful not to cut your fingers on the sheet copper. We begin bending up the lip. As we bend the lip, we'll need to cut a few notches in the lip itself. Here the lip is bent up. The center section is folded precisely in half, and you stamp that crease with your feet and flatten it the rest of the way with a pair of pliers. Just like that. All the way down. Then you put your carpenter square behind and use your hands to bend a modest crease along here, doing that on both sides so that your center section is now ready. Your two side sections are made almost the same way as the center section. The only difference is that when you measure back from here to your line that's 16 3/8 of an inch, you add another ½ inch to that 16 3/8 to be able to bend up a lip that will add more structure. You cut it the same way. Here's one of the two side pieces having already been cut and bent. The lip is bent up around here, and down here your 16 3/8 of an inch, a lip has been bent like that. We now cut 4 pieces. 2 go on the top and 2 go on the bottom from our stage 2 parabola. After tracing the parabola, I add a 1/2 inch lip here, and I also add 4 1/4 to 1/2 inch lip around here so I can bend it up. Here is one of the 4 top and bottom pieces. The lip is up here and down at the mouth. And finally, you will cut 4 strips of sheet copper 2 inches wide and 33 inches long, and you will be ready to solder it together. We prepare the surfaces that will receive solder by cleaning them with steel wool. And then by applying some soldering paste. A thin film will do it. You clamp it into place with your 2-inch wide strip here, and you tap the lip flush in preparation to solder. Apply the heat As soon as some solder melts into the seam, remove the torch. Tap any gaps shut. And continue. But do not overheat one place you've already soldered to cause it to come unsoldered. Just solder one spot at a time. On all 4 sections, measure 5/8 of an inch from the vertex, mark it, tap it, and drill a pilot hole. Then you drill it out with a 1 1/8 inch diameter circle cutter. The brackets need to be cut from a strip of sheet copper 6½ inches wide. Measure 1 1/4 inches, draw a dot which you'll use to cut your circle, 1 1/8 inch diameter, and then measure each strip 2 3/4 inches wide. It's 1 1/4 to the dot, 2 3/4, and you'll draw a line where you'll cut after you make the circle holes. Your second one the same way, 1 1/4, 2 3/4, and the same with the other 2. To drill your 4 holes, your circles, 1 1/8 inch diameter, be certain to clamp this securely to a piece of wood so you don't accidentally cut yourself if this thing should start spinning. Notice how each piece fits so that the wire gasket mesh that you see here mates against the copper. Turn the magnetron over and you will mark the 4 holes that you will drill for bolting the magnetron into place on this bracket. Now you cut these here and here and bend them into a nice box shape so that you have a 1/2 inch lip here and here, which makes room for the hardware in case you use a magnetron that has studs on it. If it doesn't have studs on it, it has holes like this. It will still accommodate the nuts and bolts. You clean the surfaces, apply your soldering paste to both surfaces that will be joined, and clamp it securely into place, paying attention that these holes are lined up so that they don't get obstructed by the parabola itself, and that the hole in the center is lined up. You'll be soldering around the hole in the center to seal it, and you'll be soldering around this edge. On each of these 4 brackets, you tap with a hammer until you get a nice tight seal against the gasket and that the antenna is centered. You can adjust the sizes and shapes of these holes as necessary. You're now ready to join these side pieces to the center piece.